One thing I was thinking is about translating, let's say, like knowledge, because, for example, there might be like I'm thinking in like in I'm saying Chinese, but actually this is the part. This is shared by Chinese and Japanese because they share parts of the language. You know,
Oh, really?
just like English and French.
Okay, or Latin and
Latin,
English.
exactly.
Yeah.
Chinese is the Latin of over there. So most of those countries, those small countries, at one point in time they wrote in Chinese. At some point in time, before they developed their own thing, because Chinese is the one who taught them literacy, and many of the words in their languages come from China.
And a lot of characters are similar too.
Well, it depends if they still use characters or not. Japan still uses a lot of characters. Korea no longer uses characters. Vietnam no longer uses characters. They all used them at some point in time.
China uses characters.
China still uses characters, obviously. That's all they got.
That's all they got.
Because Japan, like Korea, has a thing that's basically an alphabet. It's phonetic, it's sound. Japan has sound things and just straight Chinese characters. So they mix them in the language, and Japan is complex, it's complicated. But so anyway, but as far as using like the characters, because I think it's good for China and Japan, you might have one word, like there's lots of words that go along with knowledge. And keep in mind, like when we use knowledge, we use it as a noun, we also use it as a verb. To knowledge some there can be the exact same word in English, but there can't be the exact same word in Chinese. The word for like knowledge or acknowledge something is going to be slightly different than the word for like, to know something, and slightly different from the word like knowledge, and you have different ones. So one idea I was thinking about, you know what? When you're talking about mathematics, these very complex concepts and so on, just let them, because most of them know some English. They might can't flow, but they learned it. So they can know there's a word knowledge. And here are the 5 or 10 Chinese words that I'm telling y'all to use to draw up the range
Okay.
of this word. You know what I'm saying? And then we have other things like know the ledge, which that's almost a pun, right? So that even the Spanish can't use that. And then it's like know the ledge and no ledge. You know what I mean? Once you know, like you know that one, right?
Right.
So that you can't.
Can you develop a pun in that language?
But it wouldn't flow like knowledge, know the ledge, Nah, you ain't gonna
flow in that same way.
It's not possible. You know what I'm saying? If you talk to Sun God, like even Sun God on the one time when he was talking about translating the one y'all did at his rest, and the word he came up with for knowledge, I think he said conocimiento. I don't really speak it like that, but it's like I think it was conocimiento or something like that, like the word for knowledge that he used, and it's just not a word that you couldn't do like a know the ledge, and this is Spanish. Something which shares a lot of words with the English, very close in grammar and so on, and the way of thinking and meaning and so on. But they don't. You couldn't do those. I don't know what you want to call them, not tricks, but you couldn't do those things.
It's a trick.
You couldn't do those stunts or whatever, like those little.
Right, but I'm pretty sure you can develop some kind of linguistic, because that is like a linguistic trick.
Well, those are things I'm thinking about, like, and this is what I'm thinking. Like, I want to, I want to start in my family now that once I go back, I'm gonna finally be in Japan for a good few months and not be moving, and I have time to build with them, like which I haven't had for a while. And what I want to do then is like let's start getting this in Japanese, because actually.
So you want to? They could probably help you develop it.
Right.
And
develop those little things like puns and some sort of acronyms, like, and all the things that the 5%, and first I'm gonna start with the family, and as I'm expecting, as we can grow and meet other Japanese that are interested in this, basically, and get into it through hip hop, that they're gonna add it, and it's gonna be flavorful because it's gonna be.
Because hip hop in itself it's a language like we the trickery of language.
Right.
Like, the flipping of language.
Yeah.
Rather, you know what I'm saying? Not necessarily the trickery of language, but the flipping of language. You know what I'm saying? So if there are Japanese rappers, right? So they're already flipping the language in that way as well.
Right, exactly.
Obviously, hip hop is, native to, American people, right? But what does that version look like over there? How do they express it? How are they doing? Like it doesn't necessarily have to be a complete copy of this. I mean, of course, people gonna want, purists to say that it gotta be this, right? But if you're doing something different, if you're adding on, like if cultures are coming in contact with each other and exchanging with each other, then what is it like? What would be a nursery rhyme in Japanese?
Right. So I mean, they have them. But but yeah. So all of these things that you're talking about, and as far as like the hip hop, the purism, that sort of, I don't like it, because I use this name as the umbrella term, but the tribe of Jabba with Jabbar with the as far as like bringing everything and unifying that. I mean, they're not seeing, and I'm not knocking that because I feel like it serve a purpose. What I think what they're missing is how much that is at odds with the concept of a law world manifest. A law world manifest. We ain't talking about a law 5 boroughs manifest. Come on, law world manifest. By nature, if that's your goal is for it to change and be different.
Out of the scope of, because the law did want us to interact with the world.
Of course. How could you be God otherwise?
Right.
How could you be God?
So that's what you gotta. That's what something that you gotta do and bring back to the whole. Don't be a big-headed scientist and try to think that you didn't start at a new 5% over there. Like when you come so in essence you go over there and you build, and then what you have been doing. Like you check in, but at the same time you are the father. You are the daddy of that world.
Yeah, exactly. And Lord Jamel talks to me like that. You know what I'm saying? He's telling me, yo, you the law over there.
Yeah.
You a law over there. You the law of Japan. Like, cause you bring in a whole new.
You must do your own research, as I did.
If Mecca did this.